Yes.
Meeting the Amherst Township Trustees called to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Abraham?
Here.
Lynch?
Here.
Euring?
Yes.
And Kish is present. I have the May 24th Amherst Township meeting minutes. The meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. by Lynch with the pledge to the flag, and roll call Abraham, Lynch, Euring, and Kish were present. Also in attendance, Case Marsh, R. Cerrone, R. Bechter, and C. Nyhart. 5522, a motion by Euring, seconded by Lynch, to approve the May 10th, 2022 regular meeting minutes as corrected. Roll call, Lynch and Euring were ayes. Abraham abstained. 5622, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Abraham. Move to approve that the April 2021 credit card account transaction detail has been reviewed per policy and is accepted as presented, subject to investigation. All ayes. 5722, a motion by Euring, seconded by Abraham. Move to approve the bills and financial reports with reservations. All ayes. Trustee Lynch noted that packets contained correspondence from the OTA regarding ARPA funding passing House Bill 377, which distributes a second round of ARPA funding to non-entitlement units of local government, passed out of the House this week. The bill also received its first hearing in the Senate. The OTA is hopeful that this legislation will be finalized before summer break so that townships may receive their next allocation of ARPA dollars as soon as it's available from the federal government. Marissa Myers, Director of Governmental Affairs at the OTA, is leaving, which will be a huge loss. Trustee Lynch gave a short update on the status of 2 Amherst Township Lorain County American Rescue Plan grant applications currently at the county level with the Lorain County Commissioners. We hope to hear something within the next couple of weeks. There were no audience concerns. Under correspondence, Lynch also noted that we have not heard regarding the site plan for Phase 1 of the Sandstone Development Plan. Under reports for ambulance, Trustee Abraham noted there will be a meeting on June 16, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Fire Station. Under zoning, Zoning Inspector Cerrone reported 9 permits for the month, 1 new home, bringing the total to 3 year-to-date. There is a BZA hearing on May 25th at 7 p.m. for conditional use. Zoning Commission design review for 2 billboards on June 7th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. at the Amherst Township Hall. Under fire, Chris Nyhart reported that there are new businesses moving into the township. There have been no updates given for Golden Acres regarding the demolition schedule. Open burning is not allowed in Amherst Township. Agricultural burns are allowed with prior approval of the fire inspector. Under road, park, and cemetery, Road Superintendent Smarsh reported that they are currently working on trimming and mowing the parks and cemeteries. We put in a whole day of straightening out stones in the cemeteries. 2 catch basins are repaired. Roadside mowing should be completed by tomorrow. We received the 1996 Ford dump truck back with the new box installed. Trustee Lynch noted that the park was full of activities yesterday, and it was noticed that there is not enough parking when there is a full schedule of activities. Something to keep in mind for future thoughts of increasing parking. Under Lurco, still seeing considerable amount of building going on, even with inflation and an increase in interest rates. Phase 1 will see 150 new homes. Under complaints, they are being handled by the designated individuals. Batten House next phase, Lorain County Stormwater Management District 2022 Community Grant Award, $88,891 project equals $71,185 grant plus $17,796 township. The district board met Tuesday and voted to fully fund the community grant project submitted by Amherst Township. The Lorain County Stormwater District will be sending the MOU for this project in the following weeks. Please let us know if you have any questions. Trustee Euring noted that the Lorain County Board of Commissioners approved the Lorain County Solid Waste Management District 2022 Community Incentive Grant funding. Amherst Township will receive $7,831.25. A reminder was sent that no items can be purchased until the memorandum of understanding is signed by both the community and the county. The MOUs for each community have been submitted to the county administrator and the county prosecutor for signature. Once received back, it will be forwarded for the trustee's signature. The deadline for the submission of grant applications is Thursday, June 30th, 2022 at 4 p.m. Trustee Euring noted he recommended we once again set 10% aside for advertising in the newsletter and the remainder be put toward the grinding costs. It won't cover all the costs of grinding, but it will cover a portion. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, June 14th at 7 PM at the Amherst Township Hall, 5822. A motion by Abraham, seconded by Yurg, to adjourn at 7:41 PM. All ayes.
Are there any changes or corrections to the May 24th meeting minutes? Can I have a motion to approve?
I'm motion to approve it.
Or a second?
One moment here. Second.
Abraham,
Yes.
Yurg,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Okay, then we have financials in front of you. You have the listing of the bills, which looks like a large amount, but that is due to actually money coming back to us. It's being paid out and coming back to us from the ARPA dollars.
Is that the 96,000?
Yes, that is a reimbursement to us of the first quarter of salaries and payroll.
Oh. Okay,
So you'll be seeing that on the income side
right.
Where is
next
that?
meeting.
Where is that?
On the payment listing? This
ARPA
one.
COVID relief,
Yeah,
the 96.4.
$96,360.55.
I said 96.4, but I'm looking at the summary sheet.
Payment list.
Oh, okay. There you go.
When that comes back, Chris, it's going to be split up in the different funds then? Or is it all going to one fund?
Have that answer for you at the next meeting. I don't know exactly where to deposit it, if it's going in.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, between, like, road
Yeah,
payroll.
I could do
if it
that.
comes out of
I could
roads,
probably do
it'll go
local
back to
government, or net
roads.
local government distribution, but yeah.
Okay.
But I will have a better answer for you at the
All
next
right.
meeting, for sure, exactly where it went.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just, we won't be able to see, it's not like you're gonna be able to take a 96,360 and see that on the
Right.
next revenue statement. If it's split up in those different funds, there's no way you'll be able to come back without really getting the UAN to see that.
Right.
Okay.
Our year-to-date revenue is $667,226.03, and our year-to-date expenditures are $675,482.88. And the last thing that I have, well, it's really, I have the OTARMA, our coverage for the year. And as we always get, they ask if there is a want or a need to increase the liability limits.
We just went through that adjustment last
did.
year, so I don't see any need to adjust it unless the others do.
No.
We haven't had any major changes.
Thank you.
All our vehicles are on it, I trust.
Yes.
Right, that was all, Chris and Linda went through the details and checked with Kevin. We got, I think there was even some equipment in the park that had to be adjusted, but, and there was as far as the levels of the expectations were adjusted to. When you're ready, Chris.
I'm ready.
Okay, was there anything else in your report?
I don't know if you want me to just talk about the budget for a minute,
Yeah.
that what I said. I am beginning budget preparation for 2023 this weekend, and I hope to have paperwork to all of you this weekend. That deadline to submit to the auditor is July 20th. And if
The
I can.
20th of this month?
July 20th, so we're
Oh,
still in
July
June.
20th.
Yeah, and if I can get it to you this weekend, that gives us 2 meetings
Okay.
before we have to have it.
Did we do the bill yet? Did we call the bills for payment?
We have not.
Okay.
I was just finishing my report.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that is all I have. Just to be watching for that. That should be coming this weekend.
Okay, and that's good because that gives us, as you said, 2 meetings. If we need to make an adjustment, so we won't need a special meeting then. If we do when we receive that documentation for the trustees, we might schedule a special meeting just prior to one of those 2 regular meetings you know, to go over the detail of the budget. Okay. All right, nothing else. Can I have a motion to pay the bills and approve the financial reports with reservation?
So move.
Second.
Gehrig,
One moment. Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Anything else, Chris?
That is it.
Okay, there is one item, Chris, I want to handle here while we're still in financials. I do have it marked under correspondence. This is another communication from the Ohio Township Association. We're dealing with a couple of bills, but the one that we're most concerned with that would impact us was that House Bill 377. That's the one for the second tranche of the ARPA funding that we had reported the last meeting that it passed the House. It did pass the Senate. I believe it was unanimous passage, and it went to Governor DeWine's office for signature. But when I looked this weekend, it appeared he hadn't signed it yet, and I know he had some additional bills that he received yesterday for signage. Biggest ones people were seeing was the changes in the concealed carry, training requirements, and the potential arming of educators, you know, and obviously those got signed. So at this point, I see no reason he won't sign House Bill 377 if he hasn't already, but I've seen no reporting on that. So I thought that one would be pretty important. I know that even the city of Lorraine, the mayor had indicated a few weeks back just that they were holding off on some of the expenditures or the planning of those expenditures until they were assured that that second tranche was coming. But you know, I see no reason that it won't be. But you've got the release there from the OTA, so if the governor hasn't signed it yet, as soon as he does sign it, the hope is that those funds will be showing up sometime this summer. Okay, at this time, I'd like to welcome everyone in attendance. If there's anything to bring before the board, please do so, but I don't see any visitors, and we'll have the sheriff's report coming up shortly. David, do you have any correspondence?
I have nothing directly right now.
Okay, Denny?
No.
All right, the only other item I have we'll cover when we get to the zoning section. Okay, ambulance, Denny?
Just that we have an ambulance board meeting this Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Fire Station. If anybody would like to attend, they're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Sheriff's Department. It's your chance, Brandon. Introduce yourself.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. For anyone I haven't introduced myself to, which I think it'd be just Mr. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses
Trustee
on.
Urick.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Deputy Brandon Bargeheiser. I'm your new assigned Township Impact Unit Officer, so I'll be showing up to the meetings, trying to just get an idea of what your concerns are, where you'd like us focused in the township, and how we can help in any way. So like I had mentioned earlier, I'm here just kind of playing catch up, trying to just watch, see, and fill in where I can assist. That's all we really have today.
Which townships are you responsible for?
As of now, I have 9 townships. We're hoping to add a third impact unit officer to kind of alleviate that and allow for more focus. But right now, it's 9.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Hopefully there's some of the less populated.
They're not.
Oh. All right. I know who you got then. All right, any other questions for Brandon?
No, I have
Prior
none.
to the meeting. All right, thanks, Brandon. All right, as far as zoning, I just want to say is, and you all should be aware of it now, and we'll have an executive session here following the meeting, is our zoning inspector has indicated that he's resigning effective immediately, though he does have one meeting that was pre-scheduled with the prosecutor's office tomorrow, so Wednesday, June 15th, and he did say he would hold that meeting. That's in regards to a property maintenance issue that we have had in litigation in the past, and I guess there's just a follow-up here as far as that property owner meeting what the agreement was through the mediation of the various legal counsel. So our zoning inspector, Remy Cerrone, is going to hold that meeting tomorrow. But the way he's indicated it to me earlier today, that'll be his last day with the township. The other thing on zoning, I did have John Evanson from is doing the sandstone development here, along with Tom Oster, wanted a meeting with the group from Redwood. Unfortunately, I don't recall the gentleman's name he brought in. Redwood is going to be those townhomes that'll be age targeted up against the turnpike on the northern part of the development. They just wanted to come in to understand the process when it's a planned development district for this. He did give a preliminary review of what their type of development would be. Remy went through as far as what the process is from the standpoint of the zoning here, and they're aware they'll work with Kristen Brandon at the county as far as what he has to do there. For this individual for Redwood, this will be their first time in a township, and that's what he wanted to understand more on our side, and also working with the county. But some of the other county individuals in the engineer's office and whatnot, he was already familiar with them. They have developments in Avon Lake, Elyria, North Ridgeville already. I think he mentioned some others. I did ask him, where is the most current development that would be similar? And he said, actually, the expansion they have going in Avon Lake would be the one that would be the most similar, and more so on the roads, Kevin. But the roads won't be our issue anyway, because as in the legal settlement that was put together, if it was going to be an age targeted with rentals, that the roads would become private roads and the responsibility for the developer. The only thing they do different there, whereas we normally would call out rolled curbs with a sidewalk off to the side, they actually now in their new developments, the sidewalk is just with a different coloring, is all at the same level as the roads. Then they use the inverted road with the storm sewers down the center versus storm sewers, along the side and the right of way. And if you take a drive out to one Avon Lake, which I can, if you look up Redwood, you'll see the location. It's right off Walker Road, though. You can actually see in the new part of their development, they've already got some of that roadway in place back there. But even though this will be discussed at the zoning commission in more detail at some time, the way we explained it to them is in our process is first you come through with an informal explanation of what your plan is, then schedule an actual meeting for the site plan review and the consideration of your final development plan. And then if that is whatever decision the zoning commission makes, then you'll have a meeting before the trustees, and the trustees have the option of either concurring or denying the decision of the zoning commission, in addition to what has to be done through the county subdivision review process. And that we just directed them, go talk with Kristen Brandon directly on that, and she can give them between soil and water, county engineer, the other various entities that all weigh in any type of development like this. And so they understood that, and we'll get started. What I can tell you, if you look at the developments, they're pretty much the same what they use. They've got 4 different types of townhomes that they put together, and all at different pricing. They expect, though, this pricing point here, the rents will actually start in excess of $1,800 a month. And that's pretty much what they're doing in these other developments. And it looks like at the high end, they go up to $3,600 a month. And though that might seem high, you think, well, why didn't someone just buy a house? Is the issue is that covers all your street maintenance, plowing, mowing. I mean, they take care of everything, and their target is those, as they say, age targeted tends to be the those that are farther along in their life and don't want to do all that type of work, or those that have a second home someplace else, so they're snowbirds, they're somewhere else in the winter and up here in the summer, and also young professionals. So that's why even during the settlement, they tried to say age targeted is not a limitation of 55 and over, but they tend to have very few children in the development. And, obviously the schools would like that if they see revenue, but don't see the cost burden coming in. I can tell you, in one of the developments I went through, I think it was the one in North Ridgeville, I actually saw some kids with a kickball game going on in the middle of the road because they had to pull off along with their parents as I was cruising through. So they obviously do get kids in there. And he had talked about they do have some, but it's not a high percentage that are in there. But they did leave copies of the homes and the layouts for Remy, and they will be scheduling a meeting with the zoning commission. But again, if you just schedule to go over to any of their developments, what you see is pretty much what you get.
What's the total population in that area?
There were,
If you figure 2 per unit.
well, for just the age-targeted portion,
Just the age targeted.
at 2 per unit, that would probably be around 1,400 people, about 400 people, because I believe as they show it right now, there's like 207 townhomes.
Okay.
Okay, it's, which means, and just like you'll see, I think it was the one in Avon Lake, they actually have one that's set, it's probably that oddball one that's set off by itself. It doesn't have a common wall. But, so, 1,400 give or take. I mean, 400 give or take in that.
Okay,
Keep
thank
thinking
you.
of the overall development, so. But yeah, just figure about 200, Denny, in case they lose a few, but I believe they're showing 207 as of right now.
207 units.
Yeah, and that obviously could be subject to change, but that was the plan that they presented in their diagram. And, as they get that finished in the final engineering, it'll be going to the county and before our zoning commission. And then the sign, I believe that sign variance that was mentioned in the minutes was approved. That's the signs that are going in there on State Route 2, those digital signs similar to the one that's over in Sheffield. So again, we'll be meeting after this for an executive session to discuss the replacement of our zoning inspector. Are there any questions? Okay, roads, parks, and cemetery, Superintendent Smarsh.
We are still just hot and heavy into the trimming and mowing. I have been in contact with the county for fog lines and center lines to be painted. They are going to be able to take care of a quarter of the list of the road that I have. And then I've been in contact with Traft Tech, which is another company here in Cleveland that will take care of the rest of the list of the roads. So everything's going to end up getting painted. I hope I don't just jinx myself, but it's been in need because we've missed out the past couple of years because of timing and things of that nature. So hopefully that all will definitely get taken care of. The county was shorthanded. They didn't have their summer help, show up. So they did start painting early this year here to try and catch up on it all. But we're a couple of townships down the line. So hopefully that works out. And I have a couple of catch basins that are here ready to get tore out, rebuilt, hoping to have them done by the end of next week. I have a ditch project that is in the works. And then onto roadside mowing and trimming, and also brush, tree, branch overhanging the road, trimming. That's happening. Everything is rolling along pretty good so far this summer. So we're just hopefully keep rolling in that direction.
And we've got, Kevin, it is again, OPWC for our district has put out the schedule for the next round of grant applications. It's online. I didn't print it out for tonight's meeting. But we've got, as far as where we always put in the two projects, one predominantly being the loan project for the subdivisions. We had in here a section on Moss Canyon for concrete replacement. Does that still look to be the top one?
That definitely could be, because so for next year we have the Middle Ridge project that is going, and we're about down to, since that one's going to take care of that, the Moss Canyon project, that would be definitely next in line.
Yeah, the Middle Ridge was in what OPWC round 36. And that's the one jointly with Amherst. They'll be the lead, but we knew even Amherst, and that's why we were able to do it, phased it to be the succeeding year, just so we can work it in our funding as far as having funds available to pay our portion. Whereas the North Dewey Road, which is also in combination of Amherst, but we're the lead, will pay that this year.
Correct.
So, yeah, but the reason I bring up the Moss Canyon one, I did not get back this gentleman. He gave positive comments on the road crew. His concern is an area in Fieldstone. And I went down and looked at it, and, I'm going to let him know this is a decision between the trustees working with the road department, and though it's got patching, I didn't see where it was as bad as some of the other road sections down there. But, as he pointed out, I think he sees the ones where we've done the repair, it's as we found out, it's when are you going to get the mine type thing, because obviously the new road repairs look real nice, but it's, we can only bite off a little bit at a time here as the funding comes in. But I am going to let them know we'll look at that as we put the next grant application together, but there's never any guarantee we get that funding.
What's the
Moss Canyon one we
estimate
had
on
before
Moss?
and we were turned down.
what's the estimate on the Moss Canyon?
I don't have the latest estimate of it, but as of last year, it was
Yeah.
60,000.
Yeah, and it's on here,
Or
David.
60.
It was 60,000, and realize that was backed into. Kevin looked at, starting at 60,000, how much could he do, how many slabs? It's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of backwards versus what we could do as far as our match, how much a loan, so we could score the highest potential so that it could potentially get funded.
Yeah,
And we weren't funded. We applied for it, and we were not funded.
yeah. And now we put it towards there, and then we get turned down again, which, there was money put into this year's budget for concrete repair. So there's another step. Either I have to, if I'm going that route, or I'm going to wait to see if we can get the
Right.
funding. But then if you don't get the funding again, you really need to get serious about some other ways and opportunities, because we're falling deeper and deeper into the crumbling. And, we can't, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know the funding ain't there, but we got to do something. And
Yeah, well, we're going to have some now because, not like we got to be cautious how we do it, but we definitely want to take care of the infrastructure. Since we use the standard allowance for the ARPA, and the easiest one to cover that right now is the payroll. That's why the road payroll, Chris we had the discussion earlier. She's taken the first quarter of 2022, and she's now, since we've already paid that, but she's reimbursing that with the ARPA funds. Now that everything's in place, our first report's been done to the Office of Budget Management, So she'll get that in place. But what that does is that conserves funding that we had already had budgeted to pay out of the road fund. We potentially can use that now in the concrete, and you'll see this will lead right up into one on the stormwater district that I'll be covering when we get to the phase 2 here. The goal is still always to leverage additional funds when we can. You know, it's one thing, if we use $60,000 of township funds, and you know it's going to be higher than that now, well, that's 100% township funds. We only use 20,000 township funds and we get 40,000 elsewhere, but through a match, that's the much better way to do it. But as you've aptly said, we can't put it off forever because it starts really getting bad. And then we know the complaints go up. We see that, but we'll have to look at these between all the roads. It's just that the direct complaint came from an individual on Fieldstone. And again, he points out he sees the roads that are being maintained, and he gave all positive comments on the road crew and what they're doing, but he sees we're patching. He'd like to see whole slab replacements as we've done in some of the other areas and the drainage improvement.
It's not so much the road that's been replaced, it's what was the road like before it was replaced. That's what you gotta go by. Of course, you replace a bad section of road, it's gonna look good because you just replaced it. However, it needed to be replaced, and it needed to be replaced for a reason. And you need to go back to the condition of the road before it was replaced. Say, go to that section of road after it's been replaced and say, oh, gee, it's nice. Well, yeah, I hope it's nice. We just had it replaced. It better look nice. But before that, it was really bad. There's been some really, really bad sections of road that we replaced.
You mean like
Some
Aspen?
Pardon?
Like Aspen?
Like Aspen.
How many years did we put those resins off because it was so lowly traveled?
Yeah.
And we had to get the other sections done first.
We've got a section on Deepwood right at the end, at Hidden Tree, that's almost non-existent. It's so
Where the water
deteriorated.
settles, and there's no drainage.
I don't know if the water settles right there, but the road is, there's about maybe 2-3 slabs that are really in need of replacement. They don't exist. There's a deterioration right
Hidden
across
Tree
the
and
center.
Rustic Hill. Rustic Hill is the worst one where it settles.
No,
There's
not
absolutely no
Rustic
drainage.
Hill, D Drive. Did I say Rustic Hill? No.
Oh, you said Hidden Tree. Now you're
Hidden
D?
Tree and D Drive. Hidden Tree and D Drive.
Oh, okay.
It's
You
really
mentioned
bad.
Deepwood, so it's D. Now, okay, we're in a
D
different
Drive.
location
Did I say
now.
Deepwood? No, it was D Drive.
Okay.
D Drive. I'm sorry.
My mind's jumping around at a different location, Dave. You're confused.
Yeah. No, if you're not, wait till I get done, you will be. All right, but, yeah, that's bad there. There's other sections too that here and there spots.
Oh, good. It sounds like we'll be going out doing a ranking again and deciding which ones based on an objective ranking. Okay.
I mean, there's just several sections out there, but,
All right,
you know,
any other-
I'm not against, Neil, I'm not against asking for a small amount. You get a small project and ask for 10,000. I know we want to get as much as we can, but if they're not given for what we're asking, ask a little less. If we got 10,000 from OPWC for some concrete work, like you said, that's something. It's 10,000 we didn't have before.
Okay. Any other questions for Kevin? All right. Township Administrator, Senior Services, Linda Ashley.
The cemetery grant, I just did the final paperwork on that. We received our $1,000 check back in October, but we just were able to get the headstones leveled recently. October timeframe, it's mowing, leaves, and trying to prepare for winter, so they didn't get a chance to do that. And then the spring was really wet, so we're kind of down to the wire. We have till June 30th to get it all spent, and it's June 14th, and I got it all in, so so we're good to go. We got $1,000 for that, and our cost, Kevin did a really good job with keeping the manpower down and the supply costs down. So it was only $1,280 for the manpower and the backhoe and the limestone, and we received $1,000 from the Department of Commerce.
Great.
So it's only.
And we have to wait another year to apply, right? And-
Right, yep, you can do it every other year.
Okay.
And then the other thing is the chairs are ordered to replace the ones that you gentlemen have up there on the podium right now. I ordered those today.
What was the decision?
Fairmont,
Pardon?
the Lazy Boy Fairmont, it was number 3, I believe.
Which one was that one? Where, who's sitting?
Probably Neil, because it was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. All right.
So I did order those today. They'll be coming the 28th is what the date
may-
is.
We may have them for the next meeting.
It depends. Depends on when they come because they do need assembled. So it's just going to depend on
Okay.
if we have time to put them together before a meeting or not.
And when they do come, I assume these are not, I mean, we'll talk with the prosecutor, but we don't want to give these shares out to anybody, especially with the welds breaking and the fasteners coming out.
Exactly,
You know,
right.
They've been redone so many times. I would be afraid to have somebody else buy these things and even a, sealed auction bid, only to have a problem.
Right? Yeah, we did talk about that because the other one, the weld broke on the base. So, and David, I think was it you that we talked about these chairs? And they're probably from, what, the 1970s?
Yes,
I mean, they're quite old, so,
I believe so.
They've been repaired multiple times.
yeah. So the new chairs, and they'll be the same one as what we have over there. So we'll have 5 of them total. The brown one that's sitting over by the door for going upstairs, that's the one that was decided.
And 4 more.
4 more, total of 5. And then there was some paperwork that was sent over that I'm working on for the tenant for rent help, I guess you would say. There's quite a bit that they are requesting, so I'm in the process of trying to get it together. They do have some requests that I don't feel that we can actually give them. So I'm just trying to figure out how to word it, and I'll talk to you gentlemen before I send anything over.
Anything else?
That's it.
Are there any other questions for Linda?
I have none.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll move on. The Phase 2, you have in your packet, there is a document here from Jessica Haslowski from Lorraine County Stormwater District. Similar to our discussion on roads, is the MOUs for the approved projects this year are not yet available because the Stormwater District is actually, the board for that district is the same as our county commissioners. They're waiting to wade through the infrastructure bill. They believe there may be funding in there that they can leverage by matching, so they are held up issuing the MOUs till they can find out if there's available infrastructure funds to leverage with that. So that being the case, if this takes much longer, our project will get pushed out a year. Instead of doing in 2022, as we indicate in the newsletter, we will be, but that newsletter was put together before we received this notice, is we may get delayed. Because if you think about it, we're still waiting on them to give us the current easement documents so we can approach the property owners, and everyone's received that list of the property owners so that they agree to the access to the drainage courses so that they can be restored. Then we've got to put it out for bid, have the engineers analyze the bid, award the bid. I just see this without even having the MOU securing the funding, that it's going to be difficult to get this completed in 2022. But you've got the document. I don't disagree with what the commissioners have decided to do makes sense, but it may just delay that project. Okay, we'll move on to the complaints, and I think the only one open, Denny, is that one with the complaint from the residents for the drainage issue on Pile South Amherst.
Well, we were supposed to get did we get a correspondence from the county relative to that, Linda,
Recently,
recently?
I have not seen anything. I don't know that Chris did.
Well, we
Anything
were
from the
supposed to
county
get
on
a
the
correspondence from that.
South
The county,
Iowa?
the bottom
I didn't
line is
see
the
anything come
county's
through.
not gonna do anything because it's so far off the road.
Okay.
So, I'm still dealing with that. I'm still dealing with that.
But you're just waiting for that response from the county.
Well, I'm waiting for the written response from the county. I'll call him tomorrow.
Let's move on. I saw our fire prevention officer come in, Amherst Fire Chief Wilhelm. Did you guys have something you wanted to present? Because we've already passed fire, if you did. Okay. And I'm sure you saw from ODOT the email on the traffic preempter, so that's still
Yes.
going, but we have nothing as far as details on costs. I'm really hoping that they'll agree to put in what you want,
Right.
with them helping to fund it, since, well, we're not getting the one that they've determined is
Well, yeah.
more effective that we aren't using in our area.
Just doesn't make any sense when we have all these different agencies going through there.
Like the sheriff's
Yeah.
department,
Yeah.
you know, and they only fund 4 units. Well, you've
Right.
got more than 4 vehicles just in the fire department.
And by the time we're through putting those units in, it would pay for the siren activated one.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll see what Scott comes up with, Jim.
Yeah.
Reading that email, it doesn't appear, it looks like he's,
well, I
Going to
think I
investigate.
caught him off guard when I brought up the city of Vermillion, because he said, you got me on that one. And that's what they put in the city of Vermillion, was all siren activated ones.
Yeah.
So,
well, hopefully he gets it. I never did see the document, which I'd asked him. He did say that they responded. I think it was the Representative Miller's inquiry, but I'd asked to receive that too. I never did get
didn't
ODOT's
get nothing
response
either.
on that.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, as far as I indicated, we're going to have an executive session for personnel to discuss the replacement for zoning inspector. So I'm just going to ask the trustees on all the items that are assigned specific responsibility. Is there any update or anything to report?
I have nothing.
Under solid waste, I'd just like to say, the policy committee met today and reviewed section H, which was a general overview of recycling over the last several years. One curious item is that the recycling rate, or the amount of waste that's being recycled, has fallen, for the district, has fallen below 20%. It's down to 19%. It's below 25%, which is a state goal. It's below 35%, which was the district goal for this plan. That did come up under discussion. That was curious.
Did they go over why it's down?
Not sure. Not sure. We figure a variety of factors, but it says if people are losing interest in recycling, and we don't know.
That was the reason
And
they
they said, the irony of it, Neil, is they did increase the grants amount over the last few years, and the amount being recycled, the percentage being recycled, still decreased.
What data did they analyze?
I believe the curbside data.
Which we all have to turn in, which is all weighed by our providers. Did they stratify it as far as which communities are reducing it, or is it
No,
reduced
this wasn't
throughout?
overall.
Did they reduce it since we report by cardboard, mixed paper, steel, aluminum, mixed glass, various plastics? Did they
No, they
stratify
just-
it by that?
They just total amount of the waste stream.
What was our
recycled.
largest volume of recycled material 20 years ago? What was always our highest one?
20 years ago? Don't know 20 years ago.
How about
What it was.
15 years ago?
I would think paper has always
Paper.
been pretty big.
Paper. How many people out here 15 years ago got a newspaper? How many get a newspaper today? They look at it, that's why I'm saying, if they look at the data, don't just assume people lost interest in recycling without looking at the data.
Well,
Are the
it's
other
the percentage
areas-
of the waste stream, you know? It's, okay, you've got so much waste, you should recycle 25% of it. Well, it's down, they're only recycling 19%.
But because the total is less, because you no longer have the largest item that was in there being paper. It's not going to waste either, it's just not existent anymore. As a matter of fact, our recycler,
that's
Rumpke, doesn't even record it separately. It got so small, they include newspaper and mixed office paper all as one category. Let me ask this, is Republic accepting glass?
I believe they are.
Well, I'm just asking
I believe
because
they are,
when
yeah,
they,
they
when
were
they were
last
our
time I knew.
provider, they said they were going to stop accepting glass because they had no place to recycle it. The only place they could use it was to crush it and use it on their access roads at the landfill. And that was one of the things when the consortium formed, was to make sure that the providers would take the glass product, which though is not the high volume, since we measure everything by weight, glass becomes one of the higher uses. As a matter of fact, looking here, it is our third largest volume in Amherst Township is mixed glass. Over just this last quarter was over 17 tons out of the total of 109. So well over 15% was glass, and if they're not accepting glass, you lose that from the communities that would have Republic. But we don't know since we don't use Republic. I would just think that if the policy committee's looking at that, they would be data-driven versus somebody's feeling that people lost interest in recycling.
But
And
we
if I
don't
walk
know,
out in
Neil.
town, I
We
still
don't
see
know.
recycling
We're guessing.
bins.
You asked a question, and
Yeah.
we don't know. That's part of the what we would like an answer to. We don't know
I
why
guess
it's
that's
down.
the concern, if they're just guessing and not looking at the data and make data-driven decisions versus just assuming based on a feeling. Otherwise,
Well, the data says
why are we reporting all this data then, if we're not going to use it?
they require it.
And it takes time and it takes effort. Matter of fact, I saw the sheet sitting in one of the folders out here right now today of the data that we've got to collect and report. We're required to do this, but if it's not being used, why even bother? I mean, from what you just explained to me, it sounds like nobody looked at the data.
Well, the data was analyzed. I'm giving you an overview, right?
Okay.
Neil, there's a little more to it than that, but for a synopsis for a meeting, I wanted to let you know, but the rates are down. Yeah, there's been the trouble with the residuals, the increase in residuals, the contaminants, et cetera. Okay, we're up to 20%. Before, we used to be figured in at 10%. I mean, things like that. Decrease the amount that's being recycled. There's that. There's several issues, but these have to be taken into consideration. You have to find out the whys, like you say.
Okay. Well, I would just caution on making a statement, it's people lost interest in recycling. You know, I just find that not to be true because I see the carts that are being put out. And I see the recycling carts out there. As a percentage of the total waste stream, it may be down, but it may just be down because of the things that are available to be recycled. Yet the items that go in the garbage section, I assume people are still eating and consuming like they always did, unless somehow they've changed their habits here. So just something, David, to bring up when you represent us on that policy committee, because I know that we've been forced to change our behavior here for years based on what that solid waste district puts together in the plan. And I'm just concerned if they're going off of a feeling or assumptions versus data.
This is the consultant, this is GT Environmental, and like I say, they're looking at the data from the last several years, and they see that the rate's going down. And they were miffed too, they didn't know why. You know, it's an education thing, and this is district-wide too. But they said across the board, it seems to be going down. So if you have less paper in the waste stream, period, well, then you need to get something else out to get back up to the 25%. Even 25% is low. That still means that 3/4 of what you produce is going into the landfill or the waste stream. There's
Well, if you
other
live in
issues that
Cleveland,
way.
you got a lot of recyclables going to landfill.
One
Okay.
can only guess. One can only guess on that until we find some, like you said, surveys. Find some surveys on that. Find out why it's going down. All right, but I want to let you know that. It's going to be meeting August 9th, the policy committee, the next scheduled, and a tentative meeting in September scheduled. They would like the plan update to be completed by the October meeting, so it can be submitted, approved for submittal at the October meeting to the EPA for their initial review. I'll let you know that. And that's great. I have the grant application, the MOU, that'll be turned in a timely manner. Those are taken care of. But aside from that, that's all I have right now.
All right, thanks, David. Okay, our next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, June 28th, 7 o'clock. This time, we're not going to call for any work sessions, but Kevin, I did indicate earlier, we might schedule a special meeting prior to one of the next two regular meetings to go over the budget, okay? Is there any other business to come before the board? If not, then I'm going to make a motion that we enter into executive session for ORC section 121.22G. Bear with me here, Chris. Yeah, it's the other sheet. Right. I think you're right.
Consider the
Yes,
appointment.
G1, consider the appointment, employment, you can get the rest on there. Specifically, this is going to be for the position of zoning inspector. That'll be my motion.
I'll second it.
Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Uri?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we return from executive session to the regular meeting at 8:53 PM.
Second that motion.
Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Uri?
Yes.
And David or Chris, can you read the
Motion?
the motion there for the Remy Cerrone
Sure.
as far as his resignation?
Move to accept the resignation of zoning inspector Remy Cerrone effective Wednesday, June 15th, 2022 at 11:59 PM.
Okay, did you want to make that motion then, David?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second.
Uri?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Okay, and
You
then,
had another?
yeah,
Move to authorize Township Administrator Linda Ashley to handle the duties of zoning inspector until a replacement zoning inspector is available.
so moved.
Second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Uri?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Okay, is there any other business? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Uri?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.